coming to you live and direct. I can be difficult to digest knowing we the best like Khaled. I'd rather spell it out for context. It's not even the context. I'm talking about K-I-N-G. Jay's on the mic and he about to make it. You know what? I'm tired of this exercise. Them boys think they deem it's time to exercise. Yeah.
This is the Perfect Balance Podcast. I am your host, King John, KJ, John Jones, whatever you want to call me. It doesn't really matter. The most important thing about today is we have little Winston down here. You can't see him, but he's cute and adorably sleeping.
Let's talk about parenting.
Ooh.
Parenting is so much fun.
This thing that people say a lot
Okay.
is you can't understand or give advice if you're not a parent. I don't believe it. I disagree wholeheartedly.
Okay, well, I would disagree with you.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, so we're on two opposite spectrums
The whole
Yeah.
reason I disagree is because advice only requires experience. It doesn't mean hands-on experience. It just means experience. So we've all had a parent, whether you were in the foster system, whether you were with your biological parents or whatever, you've learned the wrongs and you've learned the rights. You've also seen how this worked for you in your adolescent years with this type of mindset. So like, let's say if I was a rowdy teenager and my dad kept taking away my video games and always yelling at me and I would always get whoopings and stuff, but it didn't really work out. It made me more rebellious.
Sure.
And then I grow up and my friend has a son around our age during that time.
Okay.
Still never had children, but seeing him act a certain way towards his kid is like, remember that's how our dads used to treat us?
Yeah.
It didn't work out.
So that's advice, though. That's not parenting advice,
Right.
right?
Well,
so, because here's the difference
It might
between...
be parent, because it's towards our kid.
Kind of, but here's the difference between advice and human psychology and parenting advice, right? Human psychology tells you that the harder you are on a person, the more they're going to push away. That's human nature, right? It doesn't matter what the age of that person is. They could be 10-year-old, they could be 17, they could be 27, right? It doesn't matter. If I push on you hard enough, it's going to pull you away from me,
Depending on the
right?
environment.
Whether it's a friendship, a relationship, anything like that, right? Think about past girlfriends you've had, right? If they tried to pull you in close, but that's not your personality, what did it make you want to do?
It made you a little scared.
Made you a little scared, made you want to pull away, made you want to like create some distance,
She
right?
trapping me?
Exactly, right? Parenting advice comes into play where you have love for the children that you have, like you are in front of, right? So with my children, one thing that I have always told my daughter, who's 10 in December, is that I'm not raising you to be a good child. I'm raising you to be a functional adult.
Okay.
Right? And it's because I love her. I see what she can be. I see what she can also, on the opposite spectrum, be. And I love her so much that I want good things for her. So there's a level of like advice that you see in parenting that you're like, you have to love children. You have to understand children in order to give that type of advice.
Now, if I'm going to say something to you like, this is what you should buy, or this is how you should run your household, like internally, no. Like, this is my household.
Well, see, but that's the argument online, right? A lot of people will do that. They'll be like, when I have kids, there's no way that they're going to be doing this, that, and the other. And when you take a baby somewhere, they're going to behave. We can see that this is clearly not the case, right?
I don't know. Winston's behaving pretty well.
Yeah, he's probably hungry right now. But like for the most part, it's like kids are just different. They're just very, very different. My daughter slept through the night. The first night I brought her home from the hospital, he wakes up every 3 hours.
Yeah.
Like clockwork, right? So, which is why it was a big joke that I got one night of just like 6.5 hours of uninterrupted sleep after 9 weeks of not getting that.
That leads us into the next thing, though.
Okay.
Your page, you, the real Katie Williams.
Yeah.
Not the fake Katie
Not the fake Katie.
Williams. You spark controversy naturally because of your gender,
Yeah.
but also
I live out of
because-
spite.
Yeah, but also because of your military service. And then we spoke earlier about just ignorance taking its course. People don't know what they think they do know,
Sure.
or people have their own understanding or interpretation of how things should be.
Yeah.
I find it interesting because the way you approach it.
Okay.
I rarely see, I haven't stalked enough of your page, but from what I have looked at, I rarely see you get hyper defensive, upset, snarky, toxic. It's usually a professional reply or just some type of deflection to something that's less important or turn it into a joke. I see you let it roll off a lot. And it's interesting to me because in the service, I've seen women not be able to do that.
I have a really strong sense of myself. I know what I've done. I don't feel the desire to constantly prove that I know what I know.
Yeah.
When I became a first sergeant, for the first couple months, I think I had more senior leaders challenge my authority than ever before in my career. Being a first sergeant is probably the most difficult challenge I've ever had in my career. And it wasn't until 8-9 months later that they actually started to believe that I knew what I was talking about. And it was because I would consistently prove to them over and over and over again, not by, hey, you are wrong, da 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 da. It's like, hey, why don't you do it like this? And then once they did it their own way and they saw the way that it would have worked, and it took that consistent level of fighting for them, showing them the right way to do it and allowing them to make their decision and their choice.
Yeah.
And then showing them the natural consequences of those things, for them to actually come up to me and say, hey, we were wrong. We did not realize.
You didn't even do anything impressively different or out of the box. You're just doing your standard.
Yep.
This is what you do.
I remained calm. I spoke the truth. And, I think I do the same thing when it comes to social media, right? I can be calm. I also don't see social media as real, even though I know it is, but I don't get so wrapped up in it that it becomes my life.
It doesn't control your life.
Correct. I'm on it all the time, but people closest to me know that my phone never goes off because none of my notifications are on. The only one that has notifications on it is my text messages. That's it.
What specifically, because we talked about you not really getting taken seriously during the time of your first sergeant, or at least the first year. But why, what specifically do you think made that the hardest rank?
Me being so young, right? I got my diamond when I was 32. And so I wasn't really young.
Is that young for the Army to become a first sergeant?
I guess considerably, yeah. I was 31 when I got my master sergeant, and I got my diamond when I was 32. And so that would be considerably young, but I still had a lot of time in service because I joined at 17.
So relatively young. Okay.
So yeah, I would say the most challenging thing about it was working with commanders, because I had 2 different commanders during that time frame. I had one that was a female that despised me, and it was very, very hard because if you're not on the same page as your commander, you know this, right? Your entire unit breaks down. And that's exactly what happened.
True.
The first 8 months, that's who I had as a commander, and everything broke down. And then as soon as I got a new commander in, because her time was up, he came in, and I basically told him, I said, listen, his name's Captain Johnson. I was like, you and I are in an arranged marriage for the next 2.5 years, on the most part, right? So even if we have an argument and you just don't agree with me, just understand that you can't just remove me out of just like sheer spite, right? We have to work together. We have to figure out how to do this together. He understood that very well. She did not, right?
Yeah.
And so it was difficult just to get that apart. What I will say is that being a first sergeant flexed the conflict resolution muscle that I haven't had to flex in a very, very long time, right? You don't get to be, especially as a first sergeant during the year 2021, 2022, 2023, right? There's a different time, different climate in the military. So it was tougher to be like hard and, just kind of, but I didn't want to be either. So listening to soldiers was key for me. And then also being able to solve issues that seemingly have nothing to do with me, right? So it's like, how did this even happen? We don't know, but first sergeant has to fix it. And that's exactly what I did. So I just did my best.
Going through some more of your social media content, there were some comments that stuck in my head that I thought were hilarious. Like, just take the nails off. You'd be a much better leader if why you just want to be pretty.
I've seen those comments too. It's like the military's not a pageant, which is so funny to me because people don't realize that I actually was in pageants. Like I was in a pageant. I was in 2 of them. And I have a crown from one of them. So, and I hit top 15 in the other. So I think it's interesting. We don't lose our identity when we join the military. You telling me saying like, just take your nails off, just take the makeup off, like you're not trying to impress them. You're right, I'm not. I'm trying to impress me. This is for me. So my husband, I talked to him about, I like to get Botox, right? I told him that one day maybe I'll get a mommy makeover. Who knows, right? And he's like, I support you. I'm like, honey, it wouldn't matter if you didn't. Like, because let's just be real. what I do for me, right? Obviously, I still want you to be attracted to me, but it's for me. It has always been for me. I do my hair, I do my makeup, I do my nails for myself, not for my husband and not for anybody else. And I think when people understand that, then it becomes a little bit easier.
Has it been hard for you to be the girly girl you are, but then also be in a leadership position where people will go, yeah, you're all pretty. I don't really think you know exactly what you're doing.
It is hard sometimes. I was in a school once, 2014. I went to recruiting school, and I was one of 5 females. And it came out later that so there's cameras in the classrooms.
Yeah.
It came out later that all the instructors were taking bets on which one of us females was basically the hoe of the class. And a lot of them said me, and yet I was the only one that was in my room every single night at 9 p.m. And I didn't go anywhere. I drank a little bit, right, because I was an adult and I could.
Yeah.
But yeah, I never got in trouble for any of that stuff, and it just, you get to that point where you're just like, they're going to assume things about you regardless. The first 10 years of my career, I really tried to fight that.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's very hard. It's hard to get past that stigma, but to be honest with you, like, after you recognize that it's just always going to be there, you have to just be better than that. And so that's why I tell people that females in the military have to compete at a much higher level. And what men hear sometimes is that I mean by a higher physical standard, and that's not what I mean.
Yeah.
But they have to compete at a higher level of, I would say, intellectualism and intelligence, and and then just being able to have a really strong set of integrity.
So let's talk about knowing your worth.
Okay.
The prompt is, it is highly misrepresented that this only means you are worth more than what you or others believe. It can be argued that you are worth less. What do you think about that?
Well, I guess it depends on your perspective, right, on what value is, right? If you pay for water, right, there's an argument there. It's like, if you pay for water, like, I would pay more for an Evian or a Smart Water than I would pay for a Mountain Spring water from Costco, right? And it's because I value it more based off how it was, produced. But at the same time, if you look at it from a faith-based perspective, no one has more inherent value than other people. So a murderer is at the same value of a king.
Yeah.
And that's difficult for most people to realize.
Which would you stand on more?
I think everyone has inherent value, regardless of who they are. But again, I take a very faith-based approach to it.
Okay. So more of an equal thing.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. So what if I said, not comparing to other people,
Okay.
but just you, yourself, individual, no one else is around. You believe that you are worth a TV show that runs for at least 10 seasons.
Sure, that'd be great.
And you get all expenses paid trips for vacations whenever you want. That's your worth, what you believe.
Okay.
But your actual worth is 9-to-5 job, save that money, pay for your own vacation, and maybe go and do a podcast every now and then. That's your actual worth.
Sure. So, like, for example, when it comes to dating, when I met my husband, he tried to talk to me and I was like, go away. Like, this is what I want for my life. And if you're willing to do that, okay. But if not, then go away. I'm fine.
High maintenance.
I'm very high maintenance.
I remember we had a
My
conversation.
husband knows this.
But that's...
Well, I think the argument there, right, is that some people are like, well, you're not worth that. Right? To you. Maybe not to you, I'm not worth that. Right? Or people say, like, well,
It depends on how you take it.
Well, I was 33 at the time that I met him, and I have a child from a previous marriage, right? You would say I'm a once divorced single mother, and most people would say she's not worth that. And to those people, I guess you're right.
That's not enough information to go off of to say if you're worth it or not.
Well, I would agree.
Yeah.
But some people do believe that.
Yeah, the way I operate, I have to get more information before I just make a judgment call. So, like, if you bring more to the table, and then you say, these are my standards, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take your standards and I'm going to see what your output is. And we're not just talking about monetary value. We're not talking about income. We're just talking about your output in general.
Okay.
If your output matches your standards, then you're worth it.
Yes.
But if your output does not match your standards, then no, you're not.
I would agree with
You're not
that. I
worth
would
it.
change the verbiage slightly, and I would say if like what you say are your standards, you are also treating yourself by the same standard, then I would say okay.
Yeah. We're talking about knowing your worth. And a lot of that comes from proper judgment.
Okay.
Right. So, like I was saying, judging, if you have your standards to a certain level, can you provide for yourself?
Sure.
Once you get married, that person, in my belief, the man should be in a leadership role when it comes to this marriage. So, if we're going to get married, everything that you have right now, that's protection, taking care of you, making sure that you're provided for, whatever, I'm now making a conscious decision to say, I'm taking over that. Right.
Okay.
Now, it doesn't mean you can't do it yourself anymore.
Sure.
It doesn't mean you can't go out and do whatever, but it means that allow me to be that leader. Allow me to do these things for you. But you also have your own roles for me too.
Sure.
Like allow you to take care of me, allow you to be there, supportive of me.
Yeah, I'd agree with all
it's
that.
a partnership. But as a lot of it comes from making good judgment calls.
A lot of people don't have discernment anymore.
True.
They don't know how to understand what is good and what is bad.
People don't even know what that means.
Right. Well, discernment really, truly is just like being able to look at a situation and understand the good and the bad and the actions and consequences of both paths, right?
Yeah.
Knowing if this is good for you or not. I think with relationships, with jobs, with career moves, places you move to, people have to have a little bit more discernment instead of trying to take it at face value and be like, oh, well, maybe it's just they're having a bad day. Could be possible. More likely it's not.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So judgment is a part of life. There is no way to avoid it. Asking to not be judged is the equivalent of hoping you can continue living without breathing. How do you feel about that statement?
I would agree. Yeah. I mean, you can see it on my social media, right? Like, I truly don't care what people think about me. And people are like, you should be ashamed of yourself. I'm like, but why? And they can never really explain it. It's because they wouldn't do it, right? But I've also never met anybody doing better than me that actually cared what I was doing.
And if they do, it's because they probably have some type of investment with you or
Correct.
network.
They're trying to help me in some way.
Okay. So you believe that judgment is a ongoing, recurring thing. There's no stop to it. So what if there are some people who would say, it's not our position to judge as humans. If they even go certain paths, religiously or not, it's not up to us to judge. And there's a difference between judgment calls and just straight up judging.
Yeah, we call those haters.
Well,
Judgment calls, yes, that would give you a good take on a relationship, a good take on a job, a good take on life moves in general.
yeah.
Judging just to judge tells me that there's trauma in your life, right? That you just haven't figured it out. You haven't gone and helped yourself yet. There are people out there that say we shouldn't judge. I do agree that we shouldn't judge people just based on how they look, but that's not the reality of the world. We know that.
You shouldn't,
right?
or should you?
Well,
I think you should.
I think you should too, but I mean, just ideally, right? I've met some pretty incredible people that I would not have taken for specific items, right? Like I would have just been like, I would not have expected that from you.
And it's a good, it's a happy surprise.
I would say sometimes both, right? It can be good and bad. I've been proved wrong by many people, and I've been proved right by a lot. You know, I've met a lot of billionaires that wear Carhartt and Wrangler jeans, right? And I've met a lot of very, very poor people on the verge of bankruptcy wearing Louis Vuitton and Gucci, right?
Yeah,
So it's like,
exactly.
you know, it's like judgment is a part of life, and
Yeah.
understanding that things are not always what they seem. You know, maybe you should always kind of dig into that a little bit more. So yeah, do I agree people should judge? Yes, to an extent. I also agree that people should try to be maybe judging cautiously with an open mind.
Now, I need to save myself here
Okay,
because my community is going to come at me. Yes, I do think you should judge based on how someone look, but there's discernment in there as well. There's discernment in there as well, okay? What I mean is if you look a certain way, not the color of your skin, but your behavior, your body language,
Sure.
your activities, just everything you're doing, put yourself in a position of, I don't know, let's say a cop.
Yeah.
and someone's walking around shady, hands in pockets, have a hood on, they don't want to be looking directly into cameras. It's like they're intentionally trying to avoid any type of eye contact with anyone.
Yeah.
How you look is suspicious.
Sure.
Are you black? Are you white? I don't care about that. You just look suspicious to me, right? But the problem with is you need some type of discernment still.
Sure.
Maybe that person's sick. They're running a fever and they're a little hypervigilant because of whatever other reasons.
Yeah.
Could these really be the situations? Sure, they could be. But if I'm in a position of authority or security, it's my job to at least address.
Sure.
If I just give you the benefit of the doubt all the time, every time, a lot of us would be very bad at our jobs.
I would say a lot of it, though, is based on patterns.
Yeah.
Right? So if you date enough people, you'll see patterns in their psychology to know what a red flag is not.
Yeah.
If you're a cop and you do this every single day, you know what the patterns are for someone who's just not paying attention to someone who's actively trying to be avoided.
Right. But you also know how to make things look like patterns too. And that's where it gets
Yeah,
really crazy.
that's called confirmation bias.
Yeah, that's where it gets really crazy. And this is where a lot of us get scared. You have to understand that if you're scared, you are going to exude a certain scent we call fear.
Yeah.
Right? We can smell it. And then
Certain pheromone.
yeah, and then some people will try to take advantage of that. And it is unfair that some cops may go, okay, I don't like you. So
Yeah.
you didn't make a full stop at that last stop sign.
Yeah.
Even though I've seen 3 people blow the stop sign completely, but you specifically, that's reasonable. I can pull you over for that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, then you could take the other side and be like, well, did they come to a full stop?
And I've been through many different countries and I've seen different police enact. We still have it pretty good.
We have it really good. I think
We still have it pretty good.
Again, we talked about the burden of knowledge, right? We have a great country. Is it perfect? Of course not. Of course not. Are there better systems out there? Sure. Right? Maybe.
Yeah.
But also, for the most part, we're okay. Like, we're really okay. And it's because we've gone to different countries and we've seen different police and we've seen different armies. We've seen different aspects of the world.
And there's still some bad.
I have
for sure.
I have no desire to move out of the United States.
I do.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I do. I
think
definitely.
maybe I'd have a condo somewhere.
Oh,
Maybe in
man.
Scotland
I'ma
or something.
Yeah, and I think that is just a difference too, like of certain demographics. Like for me, even I've been saved so many times with my background. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I've been in certain situations where my skin color put me in a bad place, but because of my military service, I
think
get out of
people, there's that level of discernment, right? That had they been paying attention actually to your words as opposed to what you look like, then they probably wouldn't have come at you so aggressively. Right? And that's so hard because I think, being white, most people are say like, well, as long as you're just doing the right thing, like you'll be okay.
Yeah.
Listen, I have been, I'm going to admit something here. I've been pulled over about 55 times. Do you know how many times I've gotten a ticket? Take a guess.
3.
Exactly 3 times.
Oh, okay.
Exactly 3 times I've had a ticket. One was for speeding. I got caught in a speed trap. The other one, I hit a car in an intersection 2 miles an hour. I just thought they pulled away and they didn't. And the other one was a speed trap just this last year here in Omaha. And what happens when I get pulled over or when I have an interaction with police officers or any type of authority, I act normal. Hello, how's it going? I'm sorry. I was speeding. My bad. Whoops. Trying to get home. Any rush? Nope. Just lead foot. That's all.
Yeah.
Right? That is not the case for most people. And I know that, right? On the flip side, while I'm in the military, here's this small, female, girly, not threatening, probably is a bad leader.
Yeah.
So it's not that I don't get it. It's that I don't get it in certain situations.
Right. We all have those stories where it's how we look that judge how we get treated.
I talk about this too. I've talked about this on many shows and podcasts. It's like the minimum wage concept actually came out of racist practices because we couldn't legally own slaves, right? And so Black people were getting jobs
We'll pay you less.
that would pay less, and they would take it because they need to work, right? It got so bad that the white population wasn't getting those jobs because they demanded more. And so then there was a lot of congressional acts that came into play to incorporate the minimum wage. And because in the 1920s and 30s, people still didn't see black people as, black and brown, right, as like equal individuals, it wasn't worth to pay that to them.
Yeah.
So they would fire them and then hire the white people.
Moving on to our last prompt, though.
Okay.
We talked about the majority, like your student body.
Sure.
The majority of them were black and brown.
Right.
So would you say that their demographics was very similar too, or were they black and brown of different demographics?
So you have Latin Hispanics, right?
Yeah.
But there's 17 cultures inside of that.
Right.
You have black individuals, same things. We had South Africans, we had Northern Africans, we had Egyptians, right? We had Samoans, which wouldn't be considered black, or what I think Pacific Islander,
More
right?
close to Hawaii, yeah.
Yeah. So just everybody. It's Vegas, Los Angeles, New York, Chicago. These cities are great in that sense, is because you get exposed to so much.
The minority becomes the majority.
Correct.
So what is it that you would do if you did not do National Guard?
If I had never joined the military,
Yeah.
I honestly don't know. I wanted to join the military when I was 10 years old.
Okay.
So it was pretty much all I thought about. And as soon as I turned 16, I was talking to recruiters. And on my 17th birthday, I enlisted in the military. So I don't know what I would have done going back. I can say statistically what would have happened. My family uses, I feel like jail is kind of a rite of passage. I truly do feel like I probably would have ended up in jail at one point or another in my life had I not had the military to kind of guide the teenaged angst out of me.
Well, let's try this a different way. I'm going to give you $10 million.
Okay, all right, sure.
With that money, I'm going to allow you to invest in whatever business you want.
Great.
From the ground up. What is that business going to be? And it can't be a prison system.
I truly would go into the luxury space.
Okay, luxury as in like what? Clothes?
I would say, because luxury is more than clothes, it's brands, right?
Okay.
Brands in general, and I would probably touch everything. I would touch, handbags, I would touch clothes, I would touch cars, I would touch buildings. I love the luxury market so
luxury
much.
Apartments and stuff?
Yeah, I love the luxury market a lot. I think people don't understand it fully. And I would just try to make as many people's lives better as I could, right? I have a very generous heart with a very modest budget. So I really do love to help out where I can. I take my neighbor's kid every now and then. She takes mine. And so, everybody wants a village and nobody wants to be a villager. So I really try hard to be a villager.
I can't retire till I'm sent global for rhymes and riddles. Riding around in mint mobiles, I'm Ryan Reynolds. Sway seats, bumping Dre's beats while tires screech. So Midwest, so well dressed, but I'm crazy. 64 squares, the only way you can play me. 8x8, let's raise the stakes in this beef.